Hello. How to break silos by letting everyone stay in a silo? Hey, wait a minute. What's that? How do you even break the silo and let everyone stay in a silo? Well, that's what we are here for. This is our philosophy. We have lived with it for few years working in the organizations called the Internal Revenue Services. And we have some interesting insights and lesson learned, which we want to talk about today. So with that said, let's move on. My name is Rupesh Kumar. I work for Citizant as a solution director. And in my current role as DevOps architect, I'm actually leading the enterprise DevOps initiative for this federal agency. I have worked with other different agencies and the commercial sector in the financial services industry, in the telecommunication industry, and in the postal services industry. Today, I'm here with Amin Kazi, who is co-presenting with me on this very topic, where we have a lot of lesson learns and insights, which we want to share, and we want to present it to you today. So with that said, I will actually have Amin introduce himself. Amin?
Hey, thanks, Rupesh. My name is Amin Kazi. I am a technical director here in IRS. Again, IRS, for those who don't know, is Internal Revenue Services. I've been here leading their DevOps efforts since 2017. Prior to joining IRS, I worked as a director of technical integration in Social Security Administration. Before that, I have worked for many Fortune 500 companies and in Wall Street and other places. So all that just to say that I've been around in the industry for quite some time. So we can get to our topic today. So before we get in, I want to introduce you to IRS because since this presentation may be heard by people all over the world, IRS is Internal Revenue Services. We are the Bureau of Department of Treasury, and it is one of the world's most efficient tax administration. In 2019, just to give you the amount of money and work that we do, in IRS, we processed 253 million returns, which collected $3.56 trillion. Again, $3.56 trillion may not mean anything to you, so let me put it into perspective. Top Fortune 30 companies, their revenue is less than that. So if you put all the money together from the revenues of the top 30 Fortune 500 companies, they would still be smaller than IRS. I'm trying to make this into perspective because I want you to know that IRS is a big organization, and we probably have like the same issues that many big organizations have. And we were trying to address some of that with this silos presentation here today. And IRS mission is to provide American taxpayer top quality service by helping them understand and meet their tax responsibilities. So again, we are just like in any other country, there's tax organizations. We happen to think that we have probably the best organization out there. With that, let's go to the next slide. So IRS ecosystem, let me just tell you what it's like, how big that is and how diversified that is. So IRS is definitely an organization and a company within an organization. So it is big. It has lots of silos. We have about more than 200 applications which are involved in the tax collection and the other systems. We have mainframes, we have monolithic applications, we have modular applications, we have microservices, web services. So you name it, we have it. So our ecosystem is very diversified. Our SDLC lifecycle, we have like all kinds of stuff here. We have Kanban, we have waterfall, agile, again, Scrum, you name it, we have it here. As for our peak seasons, just like many other organizations, you may have a Christmas season or things like that. We have what we call open enrollment. That is Affordable Care Act for open enrollment. And then we also have tax filing season. Of course, many people in America know that, and that is when whole America logs into IRS and submit their returns. So just I want you to understand the enormity of the work that we do here. Our operations center, like enterprise operations, they're responsible for more than 11,000 servers. So again, it is not a small task. We have many data centers where these, of course, these servers are hosted. And again, it is not that we can go and do things the way we want to. We have audit systems. So there is a TIGDA, we call it Treasury Inspector General Tax Administration. They come and audit us for everything. So everything that we do has to be very up to date and by the book. We cannot be doing anything which is not has no audit trail to it. With that, let's go to the next slide. So what I'm going to do is to introduce you to some challenges that we had, and then Rupesh is going to come back and he's going to tell you how we solve those challenges. And again, I'm hoping a lot of these challenges are not isolated to IRS. We think lots of big organizations, and again, with this presentation name is silos. All of you who have in big organizations, you probably have these silos and trying to work through them. And the idea is to give you the challenges that we worked on and how we solved them. So hopefully that will help some of you guys as well. So first is the bullet here is navigate the mindset of silo. You know, people, once they get comfortable in doing the work that they're doing, they don't want to change. And we didn't want them to change either, because we felt like if we go fight that battle, that will be a very uphill battle. That would be almost impossible to do. Second is, we started this onboarding to CI/CD, Jenkins pipeline and DevOps, and it was taking a long time. So we wanted to find out some way where this could be made more efficient, where or onboarding a new application would be a very simple task. And then again, this is back to the silos thing, where people like to be in control. So we wanted to make a system or a framework where people can just self-onboard themselves. They can do the things they do best and do it very easily. Another part which we thought was very important was to stay environment agnostic. What that means is in IRS, since, as I said, we are audited by TIGDA, we have like more than 10 environments to go through in our life cycle. So, and again, there's an environment for almost everything. So how do we develop something which can be deployed to any environment? We don't have to say, oh, this one is going to the testing, so let's make these changes here. Oh, this one is for load testing, now we're going to have to make all these changes. No, we wanted something that could come across and we could, as we say, build once, deploy anywhere. So it would be environment agnostic. The same thing goes for tool affinity. In IRS, we do have a system which keeps tracks of all the tools that we are using. So there are so many tools, we actually had to develop a whole system to keep track of these tools. So we couldn't just develop something which would work for one set of tools, and then we would have to redo the whole work if another tool needs to be brought in. So we wanted something which could just work with any tool you throw at it. There will be some level of configuration you might have to do, but after that, the tool is there. Again, maintaining the quality, we are developing a CI/CD Jenkins pipeline where we may have to go to do the deployments to production, and we would like to be where we could do the deployment to production every day, although we are not there yet. But we still want to maintain the quality and the security in the applications. And the security, again, we wanted it to be in a way where I'm not telling security teams, here's how you should do it and here's what you do. security team would just do whatever they do and somehow make it work within this pipeline. So everything they want to do, any threshold they want to maintain, they can set that up on their own, and they don't have to come and talk to 10 different organizations and teams to make that happen. Again, as I said, since IRS is so big, we don't want to have a maintainability issue. I don't want to be like, get all these projects on and all these organizations on, and then I say, oh, by the way, we are doing some maintenance on our pipeline, so it will be down for the next hour or whatever, 10 minutes. We wanted it to be such that you can actually change the wheels while you're flying, kind of thing. The same goes for extensibility. Since I said we have a very big environment, extensibility is really important. We are going to cloud right now. There's a lot of effort which is in there. So we didn't want it to be like just on-prem solution or just one cloud solution. It could be a multi-cloud solution. It could be a hybrid solution. We should be able to run the pipeline anywhere and be able to execute it and deploying the applications all over. And again, the last bullet that we have in there, I think everyone can relate to that. Every year, IT is always asked to do more with less. So we didn't want it to be something which is would be very heavy duty, where we have to spend a lot of money and to keep maintain that pipeline, so to speak. So with that, like these are, as you can, I'm hope most of you can relate to these challenges. Now the question is, how did we solve them? So for that, why don't we ask Rupesh? Rupesh, please tell us, how do you fix that? All these big challenges.
Thank you. So as Amin said, so certainly all the organizations can relate to this DevOps challenges. It's not just us. We may have something more, some may have something different. But bottom line is that all these challenges exist. So when we came in and when we started working on this initiative for Internal Revenue Services, the first and foremost thing we did was we did put in a lot of effort to find the right balance. Why? Because we are not in the business of coming in and being a change agent and try to make things happen overnight. So things takes time. And finding the right balance is the key. And right now, with this DevOps approach, which I will be sharing today, I also want to point out that Amin and I, we were fortunate and blessed to actually be awarded the DevOps World 2020 award for this enterprise CI/CD template framework, which actually was the outcome of this talk today. So what you are learning and hearing today is a toil of 4 to 5 years of working. So let's get started. So DevOps approach, finding the right balance. How do we do that? The first and foremost thing which we did was we came into this organization culture, which is almost 100 years old. So understanding where the people are coming from, what are the inherent biases of the people, how they are actually managing their silo, if you will. Now, as I said earlier, we are not here in the business to break the silo, which is usually the term tossed around everywhere. We don't want that. We want the people to be in their silo and do the best of what they keep doing it, but then yet make advancements and innovation happen. So how do we do that? We do that by navigating through the silo mentality. We bridge the silos by taking them from not my problem, hey, it works on my machine, I don't know why it does not work on your machine, to more thinking collaboratively, more being engaged, more participating in bringing out a holistic solution. It certainly was not an overnight miracle. It happened over a period of time when people really understood the value of the DevOps. The other most important thing which we did was we honored the diversity of opinion. Why? Because there are certain people who have a different meta program or a different subconscious filter, which they kind of use when they are working, because every person is different. Every personalities are different. So understanding their opinion, respecting their mindset, understanding why they have been doing the things they have been doing all along, and what it takes for them to now move to a better way of doing things. Now, in here, we have different opinions, different perspectives, but the most important thing was how do we actually bring out the right balance between the developers, between the product owners, operations, security team, all the stakeholders which are part of this DevOps tool chain. And it really took a lot of work. Then comes understanding of the priorities of the stakeholder. Everybody may have their own conflicting priorities. Cyber may want more security priorities, and the testing team may have more from the automation testing perspective. So how do we prioritize these stakeholders? Understanding what are the low-hanging fruits? How do we get a win-win? How do we show that? And how do we motivate the people to actually get onto this DevOps journey? So that's where all the things which we were actually working on when we started understanding the challenges which IRS has, and how do we actually come about bringing out a right solution for this specific problem. Now, in order to do that, as we all know, you cannot really measure something if you're not monitoring it. So we actually relied on value streams, understanding the cost of delay in the supply chain from ideation to implementation, how and what are the bottlenecks, where are the traffic jams, if you will. So understanding that was the first and foremost thing for us to do. So we did a lot of exercise where we did surveys, interviews, questionnaires, however we could, to get the pre-CI/CD metrics to understand their pain points. And as Amin said, it used to take, before DevOps, it used to take over a few months for a application to go to production. So where is the bottleneck? What are causing the inhibitions? What are causing the traffic congestions, if you will? So that was something which we collected within IRS. And then the other key important thing we wanted to do was we did not want the DevOps to be in the driver's seat. We wanted the different silos to be in the driver's seat. Now, you may say multiple drivers cannot happen, multiple cooks in the kitchen cannot happen. But if you are in the silo and if you are best at what you do, then you are able to navigate and you are able to drive your own silo. And we made that happen with different organizations which are within IRS. As Amin was saying earlier, IRS is a complex ecosystem with organizations within organizations. You have application development organization, you have a testing organization, you have a operations organization, you have a security organization, and many more. So how do we empower them to come and help in building this pipeline? So that's where we actually conducted this kind of an exercise to find the right balance. Now I take you to this CI/CD template framework. This was the offshoot of all the exercise which we did in IRS to identify the pain points, the bottlenecks. Now here, if you can follow my cursor, that will help you understand the big picture of this particular slide. So the most important thing which we wanted to do with this solution for IRS was come up with some kind of a template framework which provides segregation of duty, a separation of duty, if you will. Why? Because we wanted not all hands on deck overstepping on each other, but providing a way for things to happen in a much more decoupled manner. What does that mean? It means that on the left here, you see there is a project source code repository. Now, we are just not talking about application source code. We are talking about infrastructure source code. We are talking about configuration source code. We are in fact talking about our own DevOps pipeline source code in it. So everything is in the source code, and the pipeline, the way it instantiates itself is through a very intelligent Jenkins file, which is populated by the stakeholders based on what they need to see in the pipeline. So if I'm a security person, I'm interested to make sure that these are the following benchmarks which needs to be adhered by the application. Or if I'm a developer, I want to make sure that I put in the technology tool stack of my application. Is it a Maven build? Is it a Gradle build? Is it an Ant build? Is it a Java based? Is it a C++ based? So all that information is provided in the Jenkins file, and they are checked into the repository as a first class artifact. Now on the right side, if you will, here you see there is something called template library. Now the CI/CD development, the CI/CD team or the DevOps team, they are involved with creating templates. They are responsible for keeping the pipeline living and always in the full throttle. It's going with all different technology tool stacks. As you can see here, I have listed down a few of the different technologies with Windows, mainframe, JBoss, WebLogic, WebSphere. It does not limit to that. So you have a technology tool stack which you need to onboard. We will create a template for you. And the way we create the template is by basing it off on shared library, where we actually work with different scripting tools, Groovy, Python, PowerShell, Shell script, and any other in the future which might come along. So as you can see, we wanted to actually get that extensibility built in the core of our template framework so that we can handle different technology tool stacks and different variation in onboarding an application on our pipeline. And down below here, I'm very happy to say that we are using Cloudbees Jenkins as our enterprise pipeline, where this connects the dot. It pulls the code from the left and from the right, and then it creates the magic. It creates the pipeline for that application, and the value starts flowing from left to the right. So that's basically what this CI/CD template framework was built to do. And it has been doing it in IRS. And we have so far onboarded 93 applications on this pipeline, and it's adding value. So with that said, I will move to the next slide. Now here in this slide, I want you to kind of pay attention to all the different hexagons down below here. Now these hexagons actually represent silos. And as I said earlier, and you must be thinking what the heck these guys are talking about, how do you break the silo by allowing everyone to be in the silo? And that's exactly what we did here. We did not allow, or we did not want the security team to come out of the silo into the main arena. We want them to do the things which they keep doing, which is in their silo, they are the security experts. They come up with requirements, they come up with benchmarks, they come up with standardizations, and we want them to provide that back to us. And we as a CI/CD team are responsible to feed that in or put that hook into our pipeline so that we respect their benchmarks and silo, I should say their I'm kind of not getting the word. It's basically their standards.
Autonomy.
And right now, the other example could be the functional test. Now, we don't want the enterprise testing team to kind of come into the foreground for all these different applications. We want them to keep doing what they are doing the best, which is writing test cases and integrating with different test tools like Selenium, SoapUI, RQM, RIT, RFT, RIT, all these different rational integration tools and performance tools. We want them to keep doing what they are doing. And the CI/CD pipeline is putting in a hook into that silo, and it's adding and it's deriving the value. So that's where all these different silos are in working in tandem with the CI/CD pipeline, and they have a visibility into our pipeline to see and to look at how we are actually adding value to different silos here. So with that said, I will actually take you to the piece where we have been delivering results. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this pipeline is currently active and is running on Cloudbees Jenkins. It has been adding value for over 90 plus projects. We have a long way to go. But as of now, these are the few key takeaways from this pipeline. This pipeline now allows for self-onboarding an application to the pipeline. So there isn't any requirement from our team or from any DevOps members to help or to provide some kind of like a hand-holding exercise. The AD applications, the developers can self-onboard using this CI/CD template framework. And they have been doing it in matter of minutes. Sometimes we get feedback like, hey, I did my own applications onboarded on this pipeline. So that was a very good thing to hear on that. Now, separation of duty. We always want to have a clean line of separation so that the project teams, they can focus on building business functionalities. They can work on delivering value to the taxpayer. As Amin said earlier, IRS is responsible for filing season, open enrollment season, With the pandemic, we were involved with the America Rescue Plan for the sending of the stimulus check. So let's have the developers focus on what they do the best to meet the deadlines and providing values to the taxpayer, and not have to worry about the intricacies of learning the DevOps tools and technology. The third and foremost thing which we had was keeping everything first class artifact. There is nothing getting into the pipeline if it is not checked into the source code repository. So that was the key important thing which we had to do. Why? Because it certainly is a best practice industry standard, but more importantly, it was important for us because IRS is a highly regulated and secure environment. So you cannot really deviate from that. Now, the framework has to be extensible, as Amin pointed out earlier in the challenge, that we wanted actually to make sure that the pipeline is extensible to support various technologies, the C++, Java, mainframe, microservices. So we wanted it to be written in a way that it does not end with a particular type of technology. It can be extensible to multiple technologies out there in the IRS ecosystem. Then portability. Why? Because as Amin said earlier, again, we are actually going to cloud. So we want to make sure that we are not only delivering value on-prem, but we are doing it on the cloud. On the cloud, it could be a hybrid cloud with the web application running on the cloud and the databases on-prem, or it could be on a multi-cloud where the pipeline is deploying the application on a primary Amazon cloud and the secondary on the Microsoft Azure, so that if one goes down, other is able to take. We are not there yet, but our journey is still ongoing. Now, the other important thing was decoupling the work, making sure that if tomorrow I had a upgrade or a patch to be cascaded, I don't want the 90 plus applications to go offline. So we can do that by using the templates which we have built for all these different technologies. And the last and the most important thing, the takeaway from this slide, is how this pipeline should honor and respect the standards which were created by different silos. So how do we enforce the definition of dance? And that's where we make sure that each and every stage of the pipeline, which actually, if I can take you back to my previous screen, each and every stages of this pipeline honors the quality gate. Meaning, if a pipeline fails for a reason, or if the pipeline does not, it identifies that it does not honors a benchmark, or if it is above the benchmark, it fails that threshold, and it basically sends out a notification to the registered users to take appropriate actions. So this all was part of our lesson learned, and needless to say, we have a way long way to go on many other projects coming on board on CI/CD. So we'll be hopefully tuning in again sometime in the future to talk to you about further lesson learned. With that said, I would actually say that thank you for tuning in. This is again Rupesh Kumar, and I'm here with Amin Kazi. So Amin, do you have any parting words for our audience today?
No, I do not. Just that it is again a journey. We are not all the way there yet, but we think everything that we said probably would resonate with you guys, and hopefully you can see how developing a good framework could help you maintain the silo while still letting people collaborate and actually still work and get really good outcomes.
Thanks, Amin. So with that, thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope it was a good insight and lesson learned for you all. Thank you. Bye, everyone.